Back at the Japan Mobility Show 2025, this time at the Lexus booth, and you might as well just call this the LS booth. The reimagination of the iconic flagship sedan has now been replaced with pure imagination. We have the 6x6 minivan over here called the LS Concept. We have the new Coupe concept, the LS Coupe concept. Yep, LS is not just one vehicle anymore. LS stands for luxury space instead of luxury sedan. And this coupe concept is probably the most impressive thing for the future of the LS, I would say. And then we have the little luxury space, little autonomous, it's called the micro. I think it's a micro concept back there, which is fascinating. Simon Humphries, the lead designer for Toyota and Lexus, is over there giving the press some answers. But I'm going to give you guys some walk-arounds for these vehicles and talk about the design of Lexus going forward. Let's start with the LS Coupe. It looks pretty empty right now. I would love to see Lexus have this sort of door design, more inviting, easier to get in and out of the vehicles. But we'll talk about the interior a little bit more in a little bit. All right, 24-inch wheels. The designers have these as illuminated wheels. If Lexus could bring that to the market, that would help them stand out. Let's talk about the evolution of spindle, right? That bow tie. Well, we have it on the LM, or what could be called the LM. I call it the LM because Lexus has a luxury minivan across Asia called the LM, and even Europe, all right? But the Lexus logo is completely gone here. It's illuminated, and I know a lot of you guys prefer to have the Lexus logo. Let me know if you think it looks good here. Would you rather have an illuminated Lexus logo? I personally would rather have the illuminated Lexus logo. All right, but the spindle grille has evolved. You can see it's no longer a grille, but it still has that bow tie bezel right here on each side, and then it is framed once again by an exterior spindle design on the very exterior. Now we have, what's really cool is inside the light, we kind of have this golf ball checker pattern, which gives it a lot more depth, and the light reflecting off of this just looks really, really neat, very futuristic. Channeling air. So the air channel is not only through there, it comes through, and you can see those golf ball style pattern even in the air duct behind the wheel. So looking at all the attention to detail here. And then the doors are open right now, but the air channel goes through that door as well and funnels through the rear taillights. And look at this vented hood sort of thing for the air to channel, maybe create downforce, just better overall aerodynamics. Now, Lexus didn't say what kind of powertrain this would be, but if I were to take a guess, it's fully battery electric. Lexus wants to be fully battery electric by 2030 still. I think that's going to change, but this LS concept for sure is battery electric, even though that they're not going to come out and say it. So you see how it channels the air around here, all right, on the side, and sweeps over these big hips of this LS Coupe concept. And it does have ride height control. The chief designer did tell me about the ability to take you could take this off-road. It can lower down for better handling as well, and for better egress ingress. But look at this channeler right here. Okay, so the air can still come through here, and then it channels behind the rear wheel to this Tron reclaimer sort of rear taillight section. Again, word font here, an homage to the Lexus LFA with the tri-beam instead of triple exhaust. This would not be able to be on all the time, but it could be there as a backup light. But time will tell. It's very conceptualized. All right, so very boxy rear end, and the boxy rear end is kind of synonymous with the Corolla concept that I walked around just moments ago. You just see how fat these rear tires are. Performance, you could take it to the next level with battery electrics. It would not be that hard. All right, but this is what the LS is evolving to, this LS Coupe concept. You can see screens on the back of the headrest there, and they're integrated very nicely compared to many entertainment screens. Now, the side mirrors, well, they are digital. They would never make it to market, all right? But I want to give you a peek at the inside as well. And you see kind of like that butcher block marble, or kind of marbled butcher block. I wouldn't call it IKEA, right? Because IKEA is cheap, but you see that very unique wood patterning on the floor, on the ceiling, throughout the door panels, and then a real nice two-tone beige with some brown underneath. Very calming, relaxing interior, lots of ambient lighting, some motion ambient lighting. I'm sure that'd be disableable. You have a steering yoke, all right. And like the Corolla concept, I know it's a distant brother to this, but every seat in here is tailored for comfort. All right, so this is a 4-seater, just like the Corolla Concept was, but asymmetrical seat. So the driver's seat's a little bit more performance focused, and the headrest is different, more vertical for the driver's seat, and then the passenger seat has more comfort headrest and more relaxed seating posture. Look how forward the dash is, completely flat floor. We have a double screen. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a double screen behind the steering yoke, different layers. All right, so one would act more of a head-up display, and then below that, it would act more for your traditional MID, showing different information, maybe about range, efficiency, power output, maybe your radio, things like that. With a top screen that is bending, so it's OLED technology, would show you more metrics. Now the LS also is evolving into a 6x6 minivan. You see the screen on the side of the door here tells you the temperature, it would tell you charging, could act as a side indicator if the vehicle is turning. And we mentioned the spindle grille earlier, and look at how the spindle grille has been evolved to have an outline of lights. Lexus word font, again, no Lexus logo here on the front. And the front end, it's hard to tell because it's so dark in here and the lights vary quite a bit, but we have some and more intensity of the lighting as it goes down, horizontal lines. Okay, but the front of the grille here, it looks to be all glossy black plastic. All right, just a flat glossy black, which looks amazing when it's a mirror finish, but if that thing's dirty or if the paint gets chipped on it, I wonder how it would hold up. All right, so as we come to the side of the vehicle, massive wheel in the front and then 2 small wheels in the back. And the 2 small wheels in the back are going to allow for much greater flexibility with interior space. And so you can't just have 1 wheel in the back, ride quality would be terrible. So you need to have 2 wheels in the back for better ride quality. And Lexus didn't say what kind of powertrain this would have. It's more than likely battery electric. You got to keep in mind, minivans are huge in Asia, but they're really, really big in the luxury market in China, okay? And fully electric minivans are absolutely a smash hit over there for VIP customers, okay? So, you know, the windows here, they would change for production. Again, we mentioned the horizontal lines on the front of the grille there a little bit, all right? And so while it looks super futuristic on the outside, they would have to make the windows a little bit bigger. But however, this does allow for great privacy for the occupants inside, having this sort of window line pattern on the outside of this LS. Now, we could have front wheel drive, we could have 6-wheel drive, so you'd have an e-axle powering the front of these rear 2 wheels and an e-axle powering the rear of these 2 wheels. And look at the illuminated wheel design as well on the interior. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back end here. All right, not a lot of cargo space. Why would there not be cargo space? It's hard to say. Maybe the rear seats would recline, but I do like that wood detail that we saw in the LS Coupe Concept make its way over here as well. Okay, well, look at how this opens up. This is not a tailgate, but it's a split gate. So the middle part folds down, and we have that Lexus word font here. You can see it pops off the vehicle. Okay, so you have this table here, which is very fascinating, but it will go up, suck in, and then this piece on top will come out and then fold over as well to close the rear end of the vehicle. Almost former Land Cruiser 200-like, where you had a split tailgate system, but that's not something I was expecting, and I didn't notice that yesterday when I saw this vehicle because it was all closed up. Look at the door design here. Again, look at those built-in shades. The shades on the inside, even for the rear passengers, is wood. I love that design, but those shades are fixed. I wonder if the production version, we would have more flexible shade technology or just different materials there. Now, look how big this door is. They wanted this vehicle to be easily accessible, not only for the 2nd row, but for the 3rd row as well. So we have this massive door opening, and then you have the running board that pops out right there. And this 2nd row does swivel, so you could have a conversation with the occupants in that 3rd row. Pretty fascinating technology, and I would love for it to come. Now you can see the parallel sunroofs on the inside as well, very similar to what you actually see on the current Lexus LM luxury minivan. As we take a peek into the cockpit, kind of similar to the Lexus Coupe concept, where you have two screens, one closer to the glass to replace a traditional head-up display, and then one close to the steering wheel, which could be just doubling your information for radio control, climate control as well. Of course, a steering yoke on the inside, but like the LS Coupe concept, we also kind of have a beige and brown complement to each other on the seats. And again, that kind of a butcher block wood go from the front seat that flows all the way up through the B-pillar through the rest of the cabin. Absolutely stunning concept. And Lexus, when I did speak with them yesterday, the chief designer, he said, we want this vehicle to come to market. They're doing what they can to bring six-wheel minivan to the market. So keep your fingers crossed that this could come to the United States. I'd say it's actually a 50-50 shot. Not only I think there's probably an 80 to 90% chance that a six-wheel minivan makes it to the market globally, but a 50-50 shot that this would make it to the United States. I know in the United States, older people love minivans. They're easy to get out of, great visibility. They feel safe. You can put a lot of stuff in there. Grandchildren and old people love Lexus. All right, so this vehicle could absolutely be a smash hit in the United States. There are just no luxury minivan options. So this could absolutely take the cake for Lexus as a replacement for the LS. I think there's a good chance. I'm here with the final Lexus concept. I've covered the LS concept as well as the Lexus Coupe concept that's also called an LS. It's just wild. But this is a vehicle that's actually far more production ready, I would say, compared to those more conceptualized vehicles back there. This looks like it could be coming to the market much sooner. It seems much less gimmicky. So let's talk about this design. It is an evolution of the Sport BEV concept that we saw a couple of years ago, and the illuminated Lexus logo. And that's evidence that this is a more near to market concept, because those two LS concepts over there, they did not have a single Lexus logo in here on their vehicles, but we do have it here. I appreciate the vertical light at the bottom. Would that make it to production? I highly doubt it, but it looks awesome. Carbon fiber bottom to this Sport EV vehicle. They don't say powertrain, but it has to be BEV. There's no way it's not. Also, while those two Lexus concepts over there, the LS concepts, they did not have the Lexus L motif. This is a completely different design language. Lexus logo, Lexus L motif. This looks very, very familiar to current Lexus design, where those over there are cyber future sort of stuff. All right, but like the LS Coupe concept, where we had some dimples for the air channelers, we have that here as well. And notice how it goes from this gray paint color, and it fades into the kind of this black kind of charcoal as the air is being sucked in around the wheel arch area, and even the dimples on top of the Lexus L motif. Absolutely gorgeous. The front end here, very, very low. Now, Lexus and Toyota, specifically Toyota, they are working on next generation engines that have a very low and compact nature to them. So you could have potentially a hybrid version of this. But the way I see it is this is from the ground up a battery electric until proven otherwise. As we come to the side, it's hard to say what kind of size the wheels these are. Definitely not as big as we saw in the LM. I keep calling it the LM, the LS concept van. I would say these are probably 21-inch wheels. I like the double spoke design, so you kind of have a twisting star on the inside, a 5-spoke, and then you have a skinny starfish on the outside. Massive carbon ceramic brakes, and then you have a yellow massive, probably 6-piston caliper connected to that massive platter on the inside. Now, as we come to the side, again, just look how low that hood comes off the wheel arch. Absolutely gorgeous. Big glass windshield that looks like it flows into a glass roof, but since I can't see on top, it's a little bit hard to see. And I know this concept kind of has a built-in, a drone on the back end that we might see here in a little bit. But again, look at this vertical piece here, something that is going to be in Lexus models, and it doesn't have any screens on it. It doesn't have any gimmicks like we see on the side of, let's say, the Lexus LS van concept. Huge. Look how fat this shark fin wing channel area is here at the bottom. Absolutely gorgeous. And I like how this vertical piece is also accented in carbon fiber. This side mirror design is actually the exact same as the Lexus van over here, or at least, you know, within the same family as also the Lexus LS Coupe concept over there. All right, and like the Lexus LFA that I feel like this is paying some homage to, look how it channels air behind the B-pillar, C-pillar area through the back. Absolutely gorgeous. And this vehicle absolutely has to make it to market in some shape or form. As we come to the back, look at the hips here. Look at the roundedness. I like having hard edge right in the front, right, to channel that air, and a nice swooping, a gorgeous line, more like an exotic car from Italy. So we come to the back, more carbon fiber. I like the LFA-inspired rear taillight here with the red tri-tip, I guess you could say, from the LFA exhaust. Okay, not sure what these two little circles are in here underneath the adjustable spoiler. Some of you guys, when the concept debuted, thought it was exhaust. How could exhaust be hidden under a spoiler? That makes no sense. We have the Lexus word font here with the brackets on the surrounding the hips. It's just a very accentuating the rear width of this vehicle. And in fact, now that I'm seeing it from behind, I'm getting Audi R8 vibes. Obviously, it's a completely different sort of vehicle. This is more in style of a front engine rear wheel drive sort of setup, where an Audi R8 was a mid-engine setup. But the stature here is very reminiscent of that Audi, and just really, really gorgeous here on the back end. With that cool pattern on the rear windshield as well. If that's even a rear windshield, it might just be a kind of a mesh pattern there for details. This is my first look at the inside of this concept. Okay, I don't believe this vehicle, when it was at Monterey, had an interior. I could be wrong. All right, but we have a steering yoke and we have the bendable displays, which signals more than likely OLED technology. Look at that flat floor. Interesting, while we do have aluminum kind of a speaker grill on the door panel there, there are some buttons at the very bottom of it. I can't really pick out what they are, maybe camera buttons for controlling the side mirrors, things like that. And then we have an illuminated Lexus skid plate or scuff plate as you walk in or sit into the vehicle. And then you see a Lexus logo on that kind of suede dash. Dash is pulled forward a little bit, but I like how the cockpit is bisected. All right, so you have your own personal space for the driver, kind of enclosed, more of a cockpit for that more performance focus, kind of focusing you forward on the drive instead of throughout the rest of the cockpit. This vehicle is also giving some crazy spaceship sounds. And again, steering yoke, buttons, drive select there on the side. But we can keep our fingers crossed that this vehicle would make it to production at some shape or form in the near future. But I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more coverage here at the Japan Mobility Show, and peace.